Promotion disclosure. I received this game for free. That said, given the tone I'm about to take on it, calling this a promotion seems a bit rich. I'd prefer the term constructive criticism. Here's a brief overview of the gameplay of Catch the Fox. The player is placed into a large level populated by shrubbery, power-ups, and yes, foxes. The goal is to get close enough to touch the foxes. After touching enough foxes, the next level is unlocked. When you touch a fox, its fur gets redder, and then it starts to run faster. This is the entire game. The core of Catch the Fox's gameplay is movement. It's really the only thing that you can do. Getting airborne will give you a speed boost once you return to the ground, based on how long you are in the air. In theory, this sort of allows the player to sort of skate merrily around the world, building up speed and momentum. But there's a couple things that prevent this. The first one is the foxes. The foxes you need to touch have a hitbox for collisions that's only slightly smaller than the hitbox for touching them and getting a point. And when the player touches them, they instantly lose all momentum. This kills any sense of pacing or chain together multiple tags that could ever possibly exist. It's like if every single time you stomped on a Goomba, you had to fill out a death certificate and inform their next of kin. In addition, the player's jump is incredibly small. It's not high enough to actually jump over foxes or up to any of the interesting areas in the map. It can clear a small selection of environmental hazards, like ankle-high shrubs, and absolutely nothing else. Speaking of environmental obstacles, let's talk about the environments and the levels. I have two problems with them. The levels themselves are not actually designed in a way as to encourage use of the movement mechanics. One level, for example, called Fractal, while kind of pretty, has literally no capacity to gain speed or momentum once you reach the bottom row, and it might as well be flat with extra cubes in the way. Is the level visually appealing? Yeah, it's actually kind of nice, but mechanically, absolutely not. Secondly, the other levels, most of them, have been populated with a ridiculous amount of what I'd politely call environmental chaff. This is a game about touching foxes, not about trying to touch foxes and slamming my wooden head into a tree every 5 inches. My favorite level actually had neither of these problems. It's a great big sand dune ocean-like thing of curving pits that actually lets you sort of leap around and build up some speed. It's not the most visual idea of diverse. That doesn't matter because this is a video game. It's about the game mechanics, not the visuals. Speaking of visuals, let's talk about performance and bugs. The game's actually fairly bug-free, didn't have any crashes. I did see one issue where I encountered what appeared to be invisible foxes that couldn't be tagged. This was on the spooky level, so maybe they're supposed to be ghosts, and it's supposed to be like this, but it was actually just kind of annoying and frustrating. The performance, on the other hand, is pretty terrible. I was running on low graphics, windowed, and I got what felt like 30 FPS. Maybe it's my setup, but given how much my frame rate seemed to go up when I was looking straight down at the ground and not looking at trees, I don't think that's the case here. For a fast-paced game based around movement, that's just not acceptable. Also, on the subject of graphics, motion blur. Motion blur sucks. Nobody likes motion blur. This is a video game, not a movie. I need to be able to see the things I'm interacting with. Overall, the game feels like it's pushing up against itself. The level design doesn't want to play with the surf and speed game systems, while all being cluttered with environmental garbage that appears to tank the frame rate. The movement does feel like it could be interesting, but it's hindered by the loss of momentum on pretty much any collisions or touching anything else. I did like the music, and there's kind of a zen feel to it on certain levels where you can actually get that speed movement going, but overall, Catch the Fox is not currently worth buying. The most interesting thing I got out of playing it was some good perspective on the interplay of level design and traversal mechanics. If for some reason you watched all this and you still want to buy it, it's $3 on Steam, and there's a link in the video description. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe. If you're the devs of Catch the Fox, feel free to reach out to me if you'd like me to clarify some of my opinions or my feedback. Thanks for watching.